In this video, I'm going to talk about conditional releases. Conditional releases are conditions that you can set and define and desire to learn, and then tie to learning resources and activities so that they're not available until the student has fulfilled certain requirements. So let me start with an example. Here's the Fall 2013 Online Instructor Orientation course shell, and I'm going to switch my role to student and jump over to the Content tab. Now, at this point, I only have Module 1 available, the Basic Technical Skills Development. But if I go ahead and complete assignment number 4, it's Activity 4, Finish the Development Lab Tasks. And I'm going to just add any old file, really, to unlock this thing. And done. And now I'm going to submit my assignment. Now if I go back to the Content tab, I see that I have Module 2 available. So Module 2 includes some additional tasks that I couldn't see until I completed the assignment in Activity 4. And now if I go to Activity 8, Apply QM Standards, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to upload a random file. And submit it. Now if I go back to the table of contents, I see I have additional module unlocked, Module 3 for online teaching skills. So let's look at how this is accomplished. I'm going to switch back to the instructor role. And revisit the Content tab. And if I look at Module 2 up at the top, I see that there's an additional condition that submits to Dropbox folder Activity 4 Finish the Development Tasks must be met. But if I click here, I can actually add additional release conditions. So I can create a new condition, and there are a number of different condition types that you can choose from. So checklists, whether a student has checked off a particular topic, whether they're enrolled in various groups and sections and so on, whether they've achieved different competencies and learning outcomes, content, whether they visited particular pages or topics, whether they've posted to a discussion, whether they've achieved a certain discussion score on a rubric, whether they posted to a discussion, a Dropbox folder and gotten feedback on the Dropbox and scored a particular value on a rubric. Commonly, people will attach release conditions based on a particular grade item. So in order to access a particular piece of content, you must score a particular score or better on a quiz, or you must score a particular score or better on one lab before it unlocks a second lab that builds on it. So there are a variety of different condition types. And then if you select a condition type, so let's, for example, select a condition type based on a grade item. Under the condition details, I can select which grade item I'm concerned with. So let's say, for example, that I want to require a particular score on the QM quiz. I can set QM quiz score greater than, and then add a certain percentage, like 75%. So for example, this would say that you had to score greater than 75% on the QM quiz activity before Module 2 was unlocked. So I'm actually going to just cancel this. This isn't actually my course shell, so I didn't want to mess anything up. So now let's look at the release conditions on Module 3. And here again, the condition specifies that the student must upload a document to the Applied QM Standards to your course Dropbox folder. Now, you can actually attach conditional release restrictions on a lot of different kinds of things. So on different modules, you can attach them to discussions. So for example, if I wanted to attach conditional release on a discussion group, under restrictions, I can create a new release condition. So for example, I could require somebody to submit a lab before having access to a discussion group where the lab was discussed. I can attach conditional releases to Dropboxes. So for example, someone can only access the Dropbox folder for a lab assignment after they've already scored above a certain percentage on a previous lab, or if they've attained a particular score on a previous quiz. You can attach release conditions to quizzes, and I actually have an example of that from one of my course shells. So here's my CIS 122 course shell. And the way I have this set up is there are two drop boxes. There's a basic Exam2 basic version sign up drop box and an Exam2 challenge version sign up drop box. So if the student uploads a simple text file in agreement to the basic drop box, that means that they're going to get access to the basic version of Exam2. And if they upload an agreement to the challenge Dropbox, then they unlock and can access the challenge version of Exam2. So under quizzes, you'll notice that the link to the quiz here has one of these little icons next to it. That's a conditional release icon. So if we look at the quiz and we look at the restrictions, we see that Exam2 Basic has an additional release condition that students must submit to the Exam2 Basic sign-up Dropbox. And for Exam2 Challenge, we have a restriction that the student must submit a document to the Exam2 Challenge sign-up Dropbox. Some instructors like release conditions and make good use of them. Other instructors feel that it sometimes can be confusing for students and it requires a lot of explanation because the student doesn't have immediate access to the content and may even miss assignments because they don't realize that they haven't satisfied the preconditions to unlock it. Personally, I think that this is kind of an advanced feature, and if it's something you're interested in using, then definitely check it out. And there's some online tutorials on using it. But for now, the important thing is understanding that there are release conditions and where they're located so that you can actually look on your own course shell. If you get a takeover course that uses a release condition, you should be able to look at it and determine what the release conditions are doing so that you can explain them to your students when you get questions.